I covered college football at 3 different stadiums during the 2024 season as a Washington football reporter, on the road in Iowa City at Kinnick Stadium, at home at Husky Stadium in Seattle, also did a neutral site game for the Apple Cup at Lumen Field, the home of the Seattle Seahawks. In this video, I'm going to take you from the press box to the field at all 3 stadiums. And let's start in Iowa City at Kinnick Stadium for Washington at Iowa. This game was October 12th in the 2024 season, a big noon Saturday game on Fox, which meant it was a 9 a.m. kickoff Pacific time for Husky fans, 11 o'clock Iowa City time. I got to the stadium at about 8, picked up my credential, and headed up to the press box. Taking in some of the views to the east, the University of Iowa Hospital, including the Stead Family Children's Hospital that overlooks Kinnick Stadium. Close-ups of the scoreboards here. This one to the south, also one in the new north end zone that was constructed in 2021, the loudest section in the stadium. And to the west, a great view of the football facilities, Iowa's Hanson Football Performance Center. With a little over 90 minutes until kick, I headed down to Duke Slater Field.
All-time ready score big. And now that USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington sort of up in football.
The media were positioned all the way to the right in this view of the press box, the north end zone. Players started to take the field about 60 minutes before kick. Demond Williams Jr., the quarterback for Washington, and Iowa running back Caleb Johnson. It was Iowa's annual black and gold spirit game. The crowd stripes really impressive. Usually this is done for night games in Iowa City, but glad we were in town to see it for Big Noon Saturday. Here are the Hawkeyes and the Huskies taking the field. And the tradition that started in 2017 after the end of the first quarter, fans, players, and staffs all turned to the east to wave to the 12th floor of the Stead Family Children's Hospital, the greatest tradition in college football. This game was close for the first couple quarters, but Iowa would end up scoring on 8 of its 10 offensive possessions. Caleb Johnson with 166 yards and 3 total touchdowns. So I headed down to the field with about 8 minutes left in the game to get an up-close look at the action. It was all Iowa all afternoon, but Washington did get a chance to put Demond Williams Jr. in as the quarterback late in the game. He led a 17-play, 75-yard scoring drive, but Iowa ended up winning this one 40-16. Check out some of the sights and sounds from up-close field-level post-game.
Next Saturday for a clash for the Spartans of Michigan State. The game will air on NBC and is set to begin at 6:30 p.m.
We followed the team up the tunnel for post-game interviews. I did get a glimpse of the all-pink visitors' locker room at Kinnick Stadium. Everything is pink, but this is what it looked like for post-game with Jedd Fisch and some of the Washington players. Walking back onto the field down the visitors' tunnel after postgame, got some postgame work done back up in the press box where we were able to listen in to Iowa's postgame interviews featuring Kirk Ferentz. This win was his 200th at Iowa. He would end up finishing the season with 204 career wins in the Big Ten, just one behind Woody Hayes.
Things that were important, and certainly today showed that we could beat the full 60. It wasn't perfect, but it was really a good effort.
I got things wrapped up in the press box and headed down to the field one last time before exiting the stadium. This is about 2 hours after the game ended to take in the silence of the spectacle that is Kinnick Stadium. Heading up to the Pacific Northwest now, the greatest setting in college football, Husky Stadium. Washington played 6 home games this season, winning all 6. Currently have a 20-game home win streak extending all the way back to the beginning of the 2022 season. And the best part about the press box at Husky Stadium is it's all open air, so you can really feel the environment and the momentum of every single game. And the views are also unmatched. To the east, it's Lake Washington with the famous sailgating before every game, and on the other side of the stadium, up the hill to the northwest, is the campus of the University of Washington.
Southeast corner replay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
My vantage point is from the southeast corner of the stadium up in the press box, but as usual, I head down to the field about 90 minutes before kick. Things are a little different inside Husky Stadium this year because Seattle is Big Ten country. From the field, the pregame energy is always elite before a Washington football game, but it was at its best for the Michigan game on October 5th. This was the first full weekend students were back on campus. The place filled up quickly. It was a purple out for Washington, and they ended up getting the upset over number 10 Michigan. But there were great matchups at home all around this season, including USC and UCLA. And then it's back upstairs just in time for the teams to take the field. Here's Washington, along with some visiting teams, Michigan, Northwestern, USC, and UCLA. The final home game of the year was on a Friday night, and it was a blackout. The student section showing up really strong in that one. Have to take a second to appreciate these blackout uniforms from Washington. And one of the things that goes with the open air press box is exposure to the elements. The USC game this season, it rained pretty hard, and you could feel that weather up there, but I got to tell you, it's an underrated experience covering a game in that kind of environment. And then it's a light show in the fourth quarter at Husky Stadium. I usually head down to the field again with about 8 minutes left in the game. I was able to capture one of the plays of the season at the goal line in that USC game. Undefeated at home in the 2024 season for Washington, they extend that home win streak to 20 games. And as far as all the college football stadiums that I've been to, Husky Stadium is the loudest that I've experienced. After the teams meet up at midfield, it's up into the tunnel for post-game interviews with Jedd Fisch and select players. And when I get things wrapped up, I always head back down the tunnel out onto Alaska Airlines Field at Husky Stadium to take in the scenes of the greatest setting in college football. The 2024 Apple Cup, Washington and Washington State. This game was at Lumen Field, the home of the Seattle Seahawks. As usual, I get to the stadium about 3 hours before kick, picked up my credential for this one, and headed into the press box. These were the views to the west from the media dining area, where they also had about 30 TVs, so you could keep up on all the college football action that day. The best part about this press box, the private elevator, making it very easy to get down to field level. Here are some scenes from the field about 2 hours before the game. Players started to take the field in uniform about an hour before kickoff. That included starting quarterbacks John Mateer and Will Rogers. Here are the two teams taking the field. A lot of red in the crowd. Washington State showing up really well for the game in Seattle. The Cougars did end up winning this game, winning the Apple Cup for the first time since the 2021 season, taking the trophy back to Pullman.